Israel is the gateway to God's blessing in the Bible. Genesis 12, I will bless those who bless you. World history can be summed up in one sentence. The nations that blessed Israel were blessed of God, and the nations that cursed Israel were cursed of God. The Egyptians cursed the Jewish people, and God wiped them out. He drowned their army in the Red Sea. He sent plagues to destroy their wealth. Where are the Babylonians? They're gone. Where are the Persians? They're gone. Where is the Roman Empire? It's gone. Where is the former Great Britain? It's now reduced to one island. Where are the lunatic Nazis who followed Adolf Hitler? They have been wiped off the face of the earth. Where is Israel? It is alive, it's prospering, it's growing, it is still the apple of God's eye. The Bible says that God's eyes are on the city of Jerusalem every day and constantly.
We will move the American embassy to the eternal capital of the Jewish people, Jerusalem. This act passed Congress by an overwhelming bipartisan majority and was reaffirmed by a unanimous vote of the Senate only 6 months ago. Yet for over 20 years, every previous American president has exercised the law's waiver, refusing to move the U.S. Embassy to Jerusalem or to recognize Jerusalem as Israel's capital city. Presidents issued these waivers under the belief that delaying the recognition of Jerusalem would advance the cause of peace. Some say they lacked courage, but they made their best judgments based on facts as they understood them at the time. Nevertheless, the record is in. After more than 2 decades of waivers, we are no closer to a lasting peace agreement between Israel and the Palestinians. It would be folly to assume that repeating the exact same formula would now produce a different or better result. Therefore, I have determined that it is time to officially recognize Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. While previous presidents have made this a major campaign promise, they failed to deliver. Today, I am delivering. It was 70 years ago that the United States under President Truman recognized the State of Israel. Ever since then, Israel has made its capital in the city of Jerusalem, the capital the Jewish people established in ancient times. Today, Jerusalem is the seat of the modern Israeli government. It is the home of the Israeli parliament, the Knesset, as well as the Israeli Supreme Court. It is the location of the official residence of the Prime Minister and the President. It is the headquarters of many government ministries. For decades, visiting American presidents, secretaries of state, and military leaders have met their Israeli counterparts in Jerusalem, as I did on my trip to Israel earlier this year. Jerusalem is not just the heart of 3 great religions, but it is now also the heart of one of the most successful democracies in the world. Over the past 7 decades, the Israeli people have built a country where Jews, Muslims, and Christians, and people of all faiths are free to live and worship according to their conscience and according to their beliefs. However, through all of these years, presidents representing the United States have declined to officially recognize Jerusalem as Israel's capital. In fact, we have declined to acknowledge any Israeli capital at all. But today we finally acknowledge the obvious, that Jerusalem is Israel's capital. This is nothing more or less than a recognition of reality. It is also the right thing to do. It's something that has to be done. That is why, consistent with the Jerusalem Embassy Act, I am also directing the State Department to begin preparation to move the American Embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Many presidents have promised to move the embassy and declare Jerusalem as the eternal capital, but they have promised without performing. President Trump, when I spoke to him in the White House about this several weeks ago, he said this very emphatically. He said, "Other presidents have failed you, but I will not disappoint the Christian community in this issue. I will stand with Israel, and we will, at some point in time, move the embassy." In Leviticus, the 25th chapter, I said, if you look at 1917, it was a Jubilee year, and the Balfour Amendment came, and then in 50 years was 1967, and Jerusalem was reconnected to Israel, and you add 50 to 1967, and you're in 2017. I said, this is the year to move the embassy and make that declaration, because it is a biblical timing of absolute precision. Thank God he's going to do exactly that. I think there's a biblical significance to everything that happens to Israel. David writes in the book of Psalms, God has a set time to show grace and mercy to the Jewish people. And that set time is always calibrated by whether the Jewish people are in the land or out of the land. In other words, God's prophetic clock is not ticking until the Jewish people are in the land of Israel. That clock started ticking again when the Balfour Amendment became reality and the Jewish people came back to the state. So I believe at this point in time, Israel is God's stopwatch for everything that happens to every nation, including America, from now until the rapture of the church and beyond. The entirety of the Bible, beginning at Genesis all the way to the end, is God's position paper on the Jewish people. The Bible says, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. That means that God owned the earth. As the owner of the earth, after Adam and Eve failed in the garden and Noah's generation failed, God found a man by the name of Abraham, and he made a covenant with him, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, recorded in the book of Genesis, that he was going to give them a strip of real estate in the Middle East, and that piece of real estate would be theirs forever. Forever means today, tomorrow, and forever. It has nothing to do with what the Palestinians think, what the Russians think, what the UK has the opinion of. It belongs to the Jewish people. And Israel is the gateway to God's blessing in the Bible. Genesis 12, I will bless those who bless you. World history can be summed up in one sentence. The nations that blessed Israel were blessed of God, and the nations that cursed Israel were cursed of God.